welcome to our second Campfire chat here at Dodge Nature Center and Preschool. I'm Jason Sanders and I'm the Executive Director. Welcome to our virtual Campfire chat. Today you'll have an opportunity to learn more about Dodge's impact through our preschool. You'll also learn a little bit about a Nourishing Everyone's Need for Nature campaign. We'll continue to host these in the upcoming months, covering topics that include community outreach and our farm program. A couple housekeeping things is you'll see along the side or below, you'll see the chat feature. We welcome any questions that you have in regards to Dodge Nature Center Preschool, Dodge in general, the campaign. Would love to answer those at the end of the program, as well as the Q&A. There's that function as well that you can use throughout the program as you're listening to Amy from our preschool. A little bit about my story and how I came to Dodge, because the preschool was such a huge part of how Dodge was brought to myself and my family. There was an employment opportunity and I was considering a number of options, and the past executive director brought me through the preschool. And at that point in my life, I had two preschoolers that were ready to be outside. And I guess at that point in time in my life, I didn't realize the importance of the preschool and how it would affect them. Today, they are 22 and 19. One's graduated from college, the other one in college. And without that experience at our preschool, our summer camps, there is so much they would have missed. They would not recognize the things that they recognize today. And I'm so proud to sit here as the executive director of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool and say, hey, I am too a Dodge Nature Preschool alumni. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in Amy Warzybok, our preschool director.
Hey, Jason, thank you. So I'm going to be sharing a presentation with you. I really wish we could be here all together today, but right now it's not as safe as we'd like it to be, and we want to keep you safe as well as our staff and children. So we've created a virtual opportunity to kind of introduce you to our program. And if you ever want to know more, I am always here to have a longer discussion about anything that you hear about today. I'm going to get this presentation started. I'm multitasking today. Great. So without further ado, I'm going to start my presentation. And I first want to just share how proud I am to work for this preschool. I'm really proud of what we do, as I think it really truly is a unique opportunity for children and their families. And I'm excited to talk with you about our program as well as our staff and give you some background on the philosophy that guides our work. I really love the philosophy of education. I love curriculum theory. So if you want to have a longer chat about that too, feel free to reach out to me. But Brenda and Rosie helped cut me back a little bit on that, so I won't go into too much detail, but a bit. And as Jason said, we're going to have a little time at the end for some questions for Jason or myself. So you can use the chat screen at the chat feature at the bottom of your screen for that. In 2020, Dodge Nature Preschool celebrated our 20-year anniversary. Our school was created to provide a premier early childhood environmental education experience that meets children's developmental needs while also initiating them into a lifelong and meaningful relationship with the natural world. Our program's founders recognized very early on the value of a nature preschool model to support the developmental needs of young children. We're a part-day program here at Dodge. We have options for 2, 3, or 5-day schedules in a morning or afternoon program. This gives our families a lot of choice to choose that schedule that will work for them. Our classrooms are mixed age, serving 3 to 5-year-old children, with younger children getting to learn from their older peers and older children getting to take on the role and responsibility of a leader. We also have a morning and a lunch bunch to just help families that might need an extended day. At Dodge, we really strive to create a unique balance between active outdoor play and indoor play, utilizing a variety of materials that support children's development across domains. We also have a snack that will include 2 food groups, and when possible, we really like to harvest food from our gardens or around our nature center grounds. And then we have a large group time where children can come together with their classmates and teachers and really build a strong community. They'll sing songs, do movement activities, read and discuss books. And it's also an opportunity for children to share their journal stories with their classmates, and then they act them out together. roughly at Dodge Nature Preschool each year, we serve about 300 students. This is kind of, some of our families attend our school year program, some attend our summer program, and then some attend both. So it kind of varies from year to year. Right now, we're finishing up our school year enrollment for this coming fall. And we also opened up our summer enrollment on Monday, and it's a pretty much full program at this point. So we're really excited about that. Dodge Nature Preschool was founded on a commitment to high quality early education. We're licensed by the state of Minnesota as a child care center. We're also accredited by the National Association for the Education of Young Children and are rated 4 stars by Parent Aware. This 4-star rating is really important to us because it means we can serve children that receive an early learning scholarship through the state of Minnesota. We also offer Dodge Nature Preschool scholarships, and those are something that we can offer to families that maybe don't qualify for an early learning scholarship, or we've been finding that might get waitlisted for an early learning scholarship. There's a great need in the Twin Cities area for those early learning scholarships. So we want to have options out there for our families. And we're able to offer these scholarships due to generous donations from individuals. We have a grant that we receive, and then our parents also help with fundraising to make that possible. And our outdoor playground is also certified by Nature Explorers. We acknowledge our responsibility here at Dodge Nature Preschool and Center to really challenge our bias and prejudices and listen to the voices of our community. We partner with local school districts and organizations to really work to meet children's differing needs. And we try to partner with families and help connect them with support and resources. We strive for our program to be inclusive and a place where everyone feels a sense of safety and belonging. This year, we've also had the opportunity to work with a mental health consultant who's provided some training to our staff on trauma-informed caregiving, as well as how to support children that are might have some behaviors that are more challenging, and then who's been able to provide our families with some extra mental health support as well and connect them with resources when they need it. It does take a village to run our preschool. Besides myself, I have a fantastic team of administrators that support in all the day-to-day operations, whether it's monitoring radio calls of things going on outside while the teachers and children are out exploring, or if it's doing monthly billing and collecting enrollment paperwork. There's a lot of things that we have, like our daily attendance sheets and paperwork about children's health needs and things like that. So we really have a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And then we have 3 different classrooms, Oak, Spruce, and Willow, and a mix of 16 full and part-time teaching staff and substitutes, as well as some people that run our morning and lunch bunch program. Our teachers hold a variety of undergraduate and advanced degrees in areas like child development, early childhood education, environmental education, fine arts, and more, and are strongly committed to ongoing professional development that it takes to maintain that Parent Aware rating and our NAUIC accreditation. And they all have a true passion for educating young children in a nature setting. Parent involvement is very important at Dodge. A child's first and most important teacher is their parent. So we really want families to be involved at our preschool. They can do this in a lot of different ways that works for their needs and schedules. So we have parent partners, and those people really take a very active leadership role. They help plan events and coordinate some community building and teacher appreciation. Families can also volunteer to participate in their child's classroom. Maybe they want to share a special book or a story or a family tradition, and we really welcome them to join us. Sometimes their child really wants them to come on a hike to see the farm, so we really want to make our doors open to our families. We also create a school and home connection through a daily email that's sent to our families so they can have discussions with their child at home about what's happening during the school day. And we try to host family events here at Dodge, like our Rock the Barn event, family picnic and camp out, and parent education coffee hours. And some of these we've been able to figure out even during the pandemic. We've been doing some virtual coffee hours to really keep that parent education opportunities going. And we're planning right now the parent partners about how we can do some Rock the Barn in a safe way this year. When you walk into our preschool building, you can really see it was designed to be a beautiful space for children to grow, learn, and connect with the natural world. Children enter our school through a child-sized door with a dragonfly handle. Our living room that I'm in right now in front of our living room fireplace is a space for families to come and relax and build community as they wait for school to begin or finish. And our building's interior features natural materials, a big open design with lots of space to move around, and many windows that help bring in lots of natural light so children really can see that outside even when they're in. These pictures really illustrate some of our classrooms in action. I hope someday to bring you here and you can see this with your own eyes. But our program is a child-directed program. So you'll see children self-selecting activities. We also find opportunities in our classrooms that invite children to explore building with blocks, engaging in scientific investigations, creating art with a variety of materials, going deeper with the concepts about numbers, letters, shapes, and patterns, which are all very interesting to young children, and supporting literacy through books and writing and many more opportunities. Dramatic play is something we support and value at Dodge, and children have plenty of time for uninterrupted play with their peers. During our child-directed curriculum, the teachers are active and they like to move around to different groups of children that may need support negotiating a conflict or a scaffold to reach the next level of mastery in an activity of interest. And all our classrooms have a pet and plants, and children get to help take care of those, and they really learn more about those animals. Our preschool is situated on the 460-acre Dodge Nature Center. This means our children are getting to venture out on hikes. They explore with their teachers and classmates our woodlands, prairies, ponds, animal lab, and farm. This provides a really stimulating opportunity for a child's learning and growth. And we also get to spend time in our large playground space that has climbers, swings, sandboxes, gardens, a cabin, many loose parts for imaginative play. Today they were out there tapping our maple trees in our playground as we're getting ready for surfing season. And we don't follow just one set curriculum here at Dodge. We really find it's best to study a variety of educational theories and curriculums and use this to design our program. So next I'm going to share a little bit about some of the early childhood research and practices that shape curriculum at Dodge Nature Preschool. We use the seasons as a guide at Dodge Nature Preschool. Some of our early Dodge Nature Preschool staff created a curriculum guide called the 4 Seasons at a Nature Preschool. So that helps guide us with what are some opportunities going on throughout the seasons for children to explore. But it's also shaped by the curiosities that our children have that attend our program. So these might come from these in-school experiences that they're having, but they also might come from out-of-school experiences. And sometimes an idea might be followed for a day, and some ideas may take us through an entire year. We're child-centered, meaning that a child is an active participant in their learning and gets to choose their own activities in our play-based curriculum. We use an inquiry-based method here at Dodge, and children are encouraged to develop their own questions about the world around them and use experimentation and problem solving. It's through this hands-on exploration children will discover answers and they'll form their own ideas about how things work. Our curriculum is influenced by Dewey's progressive education movement that says children learn through doing and active participation, not by rote memorization. You won't find worksheets here at Dodge Nature Preschool. Our practices are rooted in developmental research and ensures our program meets young children's needs and follows the highest ethical standards for early education. We are heavily inspired by Italy's Reggio Emilia approach to education. Some aspects of this approach here at Dodge are the 100 languages, where we provide children access to many materials. The teachers use their environment inside and out as the third teacher, where they set out intentional materials and provocations that support children's interests and curiosities. And we document children's learning and make it visible. And that documentation really shows not just a finished product or project, but the process and methods the children use to get there. When possible, children at our preschool touch, smell, observe, listen, and taste the things they encounter. This sensory input allows children to develop a deeper knowledge and connection to the world around them. And you see a lot of mud around Dodge. We're getting into mud season, so it's an exciting time here. Social emotional development is also a strong focus for the preschool years. During this time of increased isolation that we're in from our larger community, our staff is focused even more on this important developmental area. For our book study this year, our teachers are exploring a curriculum called Everyone Matters. This book focuses on using children's literature to explore things like how to create safety and belonging and teach children about friendships and feelings. So we read that throughout the school year and have meetings where we discuss it and reflect on what we're learning and what we're trying with the children and how that's going. And then we also share out some of these things with our families too to bring them into the conversation. Before a child begins at the preschool, families will have an initial conference with their child's teacher to get to know each other and support the child's transition into school. During the year, teachers also document children's development and then turn it into a narrative that we share during a fall and spring conference with families. During these meetings, teachers also get to ask families questions about their hopes for their child and any questions they have about their child's development. So back in March 2020, our teachers were getting ready for their spring conferences like they are now. And after 2 weeks of navigating the increasing risk of our coronavirus pandemic, we made a difficult decision. We had to close our doors to children as we worked to figure out how to safely provide nature education. In just 1 week of being closed, teachers had figured out Zoom and were doing their conferences virtually for the first time ever. We were sending out Dodge at home ideas to families for ways they could engage with nature in their own backyards and neighborhoods. And a week later, teachers were offering virtual group times, a drop-in time for kids to come that missed their teachers and wanted to see them even more, and video recordings of teachers reading some of the children's favorite stories. To give you a sense of what this time was like for us, we're going to show you a video interview of longtime preschool teacher Kristenza Nelson.
My name is Kristenza Nelson, and I am a teacher at the preschool.
When the state of Minnesota closed down schools mid-March, that meant 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds at Dodge Nature Preschool also were heading home.
Yes, it did.
How did that affect you and the preschool teachers?
Well, we were actually right here on the very last day of school. We were tapping maple trees, and our numbers started to drop off in the class, and I think I had 3 or 4 children on the very last day. And it was so sudden. It felt really almost like we were in a ghost town when we came back to the school. You know, little Ellie's sweatshirt was still hanging in her cubby, and we had walked away and, you know, just really shut things down. And it was really sad.
As we get by conferences, past conferences, you know, Dodge has decided and teachers said, hey, let's continue on with some online education here and distance learning. What did that look like, and what were some of the challenges preschool teachers had?
Well, I think particularly for preschool teachers, we're working with 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds. So we sort of felt like what distance learning was such a far cry from being together on the trail. Mm-hmm. We also follow emergent curriculum, and we follow the 4 seasons as our curriculum. So all of a sudden to be, you know, isolated in a way that our only form of communication was through a screen with a very young child, it was incredibly challenging. So we really worked hard to figure out how to pull them back into the conversation, back into the classroom to be a part of the dialogue. And I was so happy to see their faces. And more than anything, they just wanted to see each other and laugh and make faces and share a toy, show you their bedroom. You know, they just really were excited to see each other.
Now fast forward to July 6th, in fact, where we welcome children back to the preschool. Very small number of children that we're used to, right. But to be the best that we can be, we wanted to open those doors up so they could participate at Dodge. What did that mean to you that first day as the children drove up?
The first day, I really wondered how things were going to go. We have a different method, following guidelines to open and operate safely, and I didn't know, again, how that would affect children's social and emotional well-being. I can't tell you how delightful it is to see children back on the trails, and the first day was just figuring out how things were just going to be a little different. And they are so happy to be back and so happy to be with other children. And we do little reminders like eagle arms so you have a little space, but what a gift to be outside. We know that's one of the safest places to be and the safest ways to be together. And I think it's the best medicine for kids and for this situation.
Appreciate that video and that time. It was a really hard time for us and our staff, and we spent 3 weeks getting ready to run this summer program and figuring out how we could do, you know, what we do and maintain that quality and feel like we're honoring children, but also be safe and follow all of the best practices and recommendations from the Department of Health as well as the Center for Disease Control. So we did have a wonderful summer, and then opened up in fall in a much bigger way. So I'm going to share my slides just a little bit more, and then we'll kind of have that Q&A that we've been talking about too. So just hold on one second. I just want to share a picture of where we're at right now. So one of the things that when we reopened for a much bigger group is we wanted to be outside as much as possible. Everyone agreed it felt safer to be outside in the open air with our groups of children. So we have 3 different classrooms and we needed to keep those groups separate every time they were here. So one of the things that we did was our buildings and grounds team helped us put up a bunch of snow fencing, and we're so fortunate we have a very large outdoor play space. We were able to divide our outdoor play space into 3 separate areas, so each classroom could have their kind of outdoor classroom space. And our farm department helped us think about how could we provide a little bit of shelter on a day where there's a lot of rain or needing to keep our backpacks dry, or if we want to read a book on a wet day, what could we do? And they had used corral shelter in the past for our horses. And so we thought, well, we could put corral shelters because they can handle the elements, the wind and things like that. And so we put up 3 different corral shelters around our playground space. And then to keep the wind out or the sideways rain, we've added some clear shower curtains and some soft elements in there so it can feel a bit more cozy when a child is, having a hard time adjusting or just feeling like they need to be a little more cozy sometimes. And then we also wanted to stay warm. We were getting towards winter and people were worried, like, how can we keep staying outside if it gets colder? So our grounds team helped us put in 3 fire pits. So each of the classroom spaces also has their own fire pit so they can have campfires. We've been doing a lot of campfire cooking and making tea with some different things we're finding around the grounds. Pine tea is a favorite, adding a little Dodge honey to it. So they're being very resourceful. We picked up some new materials to help have lots of access to loose parts outside that would be more durable and could get ruined because some of our indoor materials we can't bring outside or they're not really meant for that type of the weather and things like that. So we've been able to add different materials to our outdoor spaces too that are meeting those needs. And in winter, we adjusted a little bit. We're coming in for snack time. When you need to take off your mittens to eat, it might mean that you come in for a little bit, you warm up and go back outside. But our teachers have really figured out how to make it work and keep everyone safe. And it's been interesting too, because we're following the Department of Health's decision tree for helping families figure out when do you stay home from school. I've always had policies around how to know when a child should stay home and when they can come back, but COVID added another layer on it. So we've done virtual webinars to help families understand the decision tree and how to follow it. I have a calendar to help track when someone comes back to school. And then we've had some good conversations with families. Some families I never want them to go inside, and some I want them to go inside when it gets cold, and just having those discussions and making sure everyone feels comfortable and safe and that they can be a part of our program has been really important to us during this time. So I just wanted to share too some quotes from our families that I think really share how this year has felt for them. Because they can't be here in this webinar, but I wanted to share their voice. So this is from a parent, but what a phenomenal job you all are doing, keeping the kids warm and safe, masked up and geared up indoors and outdoors. It's really incredible. My daughter absolutely loves it there. And while I was a little nervous about sending her in such cold, it's really teaching her the importance of properly dressing in winter and to embrace the cold. That's an awesome lesson that I'm sure she'll stick with her as she grows. You're doing a remarkable job. Thank you. And I even hear from parents that now I know how to dress for the weather to enjoy all the seasons outside. This is a family that receives a scholarship, and they were okay with me sharing this, but they wanted to let us know they're so grateful to have this assistance and for their child to be able to attend Dodge. This is the absolute best start we could hope for them, and it's amazing that you all offer this. Thank you. And I'm really proud to work for a preschool that can offer scholarships to families, and so that anyone can feel like they can attend, regardless of their income. I think that's so important. And then one on kind of the relationship that the families build with the teachers. But after my conference with my teacher, I felt like I should let you know how she blew me away with her comments about my child. I feel like she knows him and that she and the other teachers are doing an incredible job of creating an environment where all of the students can learn and grow in their own unique ways. Today, after my meeting with my teacher, I was so incredibly thankful that places like Dodge exist and teachers like her and all of you and your staff appreciate this special time of early childhood in ways we can truly facilitate learning and relationships in deep and meaningful ways. And that's really what it's about, is those relationships that we're forming. So with that, I want to thank you for letting me talk about the preschool. I love talking about the preschool. And so I'll end my presentation and I'll be back in a little while to answer questions with Jason.
Olivia Dodge always sought out the characteristics and interests and passions that other people had, and she respected them and helped them to move forward and grow in their own path.
Mrs. Dodge's legacy is extremely important to this organization, and it's where we started and it's where we built from. She is still impacting people's lives by what we are doing today, and will continue to impact those lives for many years to come.
I think in Minnesota we're too good at keeping secrets, and Dodge has been too well kept a secret for too long. This campaign is really critical to ensure the viability and sustainability of Dodge for the next 50 years and beyond. And one of my hopes is that as a result of this successful campaign, Dodge will not only increase its visibility, but it will increase its audience. It will increase its program offerings. It will increase its range and its reach.
I don't think we can think in terms of an ambitious goal. I think we have to think in terms of how much do we want to protect something that we believe in.
Too many people are presented with too many barriers for meaningful access to the outdoors and connection to nature. And I think we have an opportunity now to really do good work in accessibility and equity in environmental and outdoor education.
I think it just means what I believe in, which is that we all need to have time in a natural setting, to breathe deeply of clear air, to walk and have a vista of green and growing things, and to allow our minds to reach up and think as high our thoughts as we can manage.
We're extremely excited about the Cottage Grove community. When you think back to Dodge Nature Center in 1967, this property was surrounded by farmland. And you look at it today, it sits in the middle of housing, but it's here, it's a resource. Cottage Grove is very similar when you fast forward to 2020.
I think what Shepherd Farm really does for Dodge is it allows it to increase its footprint, increase its visibility, increase the audiences and the numbers served, really press into equitable opportunities for access to nature in the East Metro. Replicate what Dodge is already doing best and most innovative in its field, but also be an incubator for opportunities that we have yet to discover. I'm excited to support this campaign because it's an opportunity to not only ensure the longevity of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool, but support the expansion to Cottage Grove and an entirely new audience.
Cy and I responded to the invitation to support this campaign and work for it because we sensed that the timing was right to build a foundation that would support the base for the future.
Thank you for considering a gift in participation and support of this campaign, the largest campaign in the history of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool, and an opportunity to invest in not only what we're doing now, but ensure the legacy and longevity of Dodge Nature Center and Preschool for the future.
Your support is so important to this. This will allow children to continue to come to Dodge Nature Center, to spend time on our trails, to climb Challenge Hill, to be connected with nature. We want to create experiences for adults as well. We want adults to come back that have sent their children here, to be able to tell the same stories their children are telling them. Experience our programs, experience our trails. Your support is key in allowing that opportunity for Dodge to grow, not just here, but in this community and in classrooms and in schools.
Whatever Dodge means to you, this is an opportunity to continue that innovative work and make sure that Dodge is in a position to succeed as we all go forward at a time when nourishing everyone's need for nature is more important than ever before.
Someone has lost some facial hair since some of those videos were taken. That's great. Our campaign, so proud to sit here today and thank a number of the individuals that are watching today for their support and being a part of Dodge Nature Center's very bold, comprehensive campaign. And we've raised well over $28 million now towards our, over $30 million towards our $40 million goal. And we're thrilled to where we're at and excited about the future and seeing Dodge continue to grow and be here in another 50 years. Impact can already be seen on the property. If you've been here recently, you've seen the new dock system that's gone in. We've extended our boardwalk all the way over to kind of the main office. Access, getting here, whether you're in a wheelchair or a stroller, that's very important to be able to get people to places. So we've extended that dock. That was done about a month and a half ago, so we're very excited. It was out there today, and it's fantastic and being used a lot as we're in the 40s here today, and very helpful on some of the shoes. The parking lots are next. We're working on some of the parking lots this spring and summer to, again, access, to being able to, accessibility to, for people to be able to get around a little bit easier and maybe even a little less mud on the shoes as well. Added a new roof or shingles to the preschool. Starting in 2000, it was time. There's things that need to be updated. Part of that campaign is specifically to help the preschool buildings and grounds over there. So we're able to do some of those things, and we'll see some more this summer in their playground. Also updating the farm kitchen in our farm education building to allow that to be more of a teaching kitchen and be able to have a little more space in there to be able to do some cooking. So we're very excited about that. And of course, well-grounded in Mrs. Dodge's legacy, her vision, her passion. I would invite you to think about supporting us through a planned gift and joining our Egret Society, really making a statement for Dodge into the future. We'll continue to work towards creating new positions, specifically for outreach and sustainability, and of course our capital improvements, which happen to take place also out at Shepherd Farm, but also here on the main property where I've talked about. If you're ever interested in learning more about the campaign or how to support Dodge, please give me a call. I'm always happy to talk about the future of Dodge Nature Center in the preschool. And with that, I'd love to bring Amy back as we have some great questions in our Q&A and as well as in our chat function. So Amy, if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw the first one at you. Is what was the biggest learning from COVID at the preschool?
Wow, that was, I think for me, it was how important relationships are, and staying connected even during a pandemic was just so important. And I think it really improved our communication between, our staff as a staff community and how we communicate with our families, as well as with other people that, wanted to, our prospective parents. So we've learned a lot about how to stay connected even when we can't do face-to-face. And there are some things that we did during the pandemic that we might keep. So a big part of, as we, move towards potentially some changing regulations into the next year or two, we might have learned some things like we like outdoor drop off a little bit. So who knows what that could look like in the future. So we're kind of tracking that we like what we like about this year and might actually bring with us into the future.
Yeah, and I would say as a nature center as a whole, what I've learned from COVID, which I knew already, but it cemented itself even more as we have got the best staff in the world. Let's be honest here. We put our preschool teachers in a position to put themselves out there, to be honest. All right, we want you to come in, be with kids. Parents are dropping them off, and we're going to make it work, and it's going to be outside, and it's Minnesota. Guess what? They did it. Our naturalists, hey, you know what? Tomorrow, instead of going to Garlow, you need to do it on an iPad in the middle of the prairie while it's snowing. Okay, let's do it. And the creativity and the passion and the want. It would have been very simple to say, you know what, let's close everything down. Our trails are open, but we'll do everything from our house. And Dodge staff, that's not in our blood. It's, hey, how are we going to get back in the office? And let's be as safe as possible, of course. But how can we do this? Because what we want is that experience for the children, adults, the people that visit here. And the best, that's what I've learned, that's for sure. Amy, tell us about the admission process and criteria to be admitted to the preschool program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we do an enrollment period. Our school year enrollment starts in around late December, early January. We open up for enrollment for the following August. And any applications we receive by January 29th are considered in our priority lottery. And then after that, it's applications are accepted too. And then it's kind of in a order of when they were received for how we would place after our lottery period. Children need to be 3 by September 1st to be age eligible for the school year, and then 3 by June 15th to be age eligible for summer. And that's the main criteria is age. And then our cutoff is 5. So usually once a child is kindergarten eligible, they wouldn't do preschool. We've made some exceptions based on differing needs and things like that. So we've been able to serve, a couple kids that needed to wait a year for kindergarten or something like that. And then how our lottery system works is that anybody that turns it in by January 29th, there's preference given to returning families and their siblings. But then after that, everyone gets a random number. We do look at, in our classrooms, we want to make sure that we're considering diversity in a broad sense. So we look at ethnicity, we look at income levels, we look at children with differing abilities and things like that too. And they sometimes get a higher priority because we really want to make sure that opportunity is there for everyone.
Awesome. Are Dodge naturalists involved with the preschool at all?
Oh yes, and this year more than ever. So this year we had this really lucky opportunity where our naturalist fellows were actually able to help us by floating around the preschool. So we had 3 of our naturalist fellows and 2 of them are still here today helping with this, but they come and our schedule is such that if you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning family, you're always going to be with the same group of kids every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. So one fellow is covering that float shift and another is doing Tuesday, Thursday morning. And what that means is that they're floating around and they're able to help in those classrooms. And what it meant on Monday is one of them was filling in and she actually got to do some maple syruping with the kids. And they really bring that naturalist perspective to the group, but they also enjoy the opportunity of seeing how a nature preschool works and building those longer relationships with children that are coming back every day. And one of our naturalist fellows this year actually went off to work in a nature preschool too. So it's a really interesting relationship there. And then our regular year-round naturalists help us out at the preschool as well. They'll often do a special program if children, I think it was last year, children got really interested in owls in our spruce classroom. And they kept seeing or hearing owls when they were out on the trail. This is a good time of year right now to hear and see owls as they're kind of getting into the nesting season and they're a little more territorial. And so they were able to ask one of the naturalists if they'd be willing to do an owl program for a family celebration that they were planning in the wintertime last year. And one of our naturalists, Mary, came and she did a presentation with the barred owl. So they're always willing to help us out. And they like to share with us some seasonal opportunities that are coming up around the ground so we can be attuned to that. And then they invite our preschool teachers to some of the trainings that they do with the naturalist fellows as well. So if they want to learn more about some things too.
Excellent. I think you touched a little bit about this, but maybe expand a little bit more, is how did the school work during the very cold days we've had? When you think of the month of February, it was kind of bookend. It was warm at the end, a little warm at the beginning, but that middle, we got a little cold.
We did, yes. So it's been interesting because, in a typical school year, we still go out during the really, really cold days and we see what really, really cold feels like, but then we were spending a bit more time inside. But this year, we've been staying out so much that children's bodies have really gotten acclimatized to these different kind of weather conditions. So we were able to stay out for a bit. So they would come, we get dropped off outside. So they would stay outside for a little bit, go on a hike. The teachers really know, the activities Dodge has, like kick sledding and things that were involve more big body movement that help you stay a little warmer when you're out on the trail. They know where there's more shelter if it's a cold or windy day. So they kind of plan activities where we can be outside still. Then we come in and we arrange it so that we could have our classroom group split into two when we went inside, and we might warm up for a little bit and enjoy our indoor materials, have a snack. And then they were going back outside for the last half an hour, 45 minutes, or even an hour, depending on which of those really cold days we're talking about, and if it was our morning or our afternoon program. So we've been warmer than ever. We've gotten through a lot of hot hands this year and definitely have a bigger stack of wood outside the front door than we might on a typical year. We've done a lot with campfires too. So we're figuring out that it works, and it's been a really fun year to really get to know our outdoor spaces more.
So what I heard there is you're suggesting when it's really cold, I should go outside a little bit more and just be properly equipped to be out there.
Yes, and we have a visual someone created a while ago with the steps it takes to put all of your gear on, because we're really trying to, for preschoolers, help them build some of those self-care skills where they can get dressed. So we have kind of the, you put your snow pants on before your boots, those types of things. So, and certain days it's a neck warmer day. You just have to wear your neck warmer.
Oh, that's great. One of the questions that came in was around springtime events or events in general, and events at Dodge are important because it's the community, it's our family coming back to Dodge, it's alumni from the preschool coming back and seeing some of the things they maybe haven't seen in a while, or just that camaraderie. And we want to, trust me, staff, as hard as it is to pull off a Halloween event or a Rock the Barn and the time it takes, when you haven't had it in over a year, you miss it. And we want to bring that back, and we're going to touch it a little bit. May 15th, we're going to celebrate 20 years of the preschool. We're working on that right now, and to kind of working on the times and how to invite certain classes back for certain time slots, and use the full property, not inside the buildings. Obviously, the preschool is coming to an end there, a school year end, and so we won't be doing any tours of sense inside the buildings, but we want to celebrate because we do feel it's extremely important about our past, but most importantly about our present, and we want to bring people back. So May 15th is one thing that we will be doing, and we continue to look at ways to try to bring programming back in a safe way, obviously, in social distancing. So next question is the preschool part of the campaign? Absolutely. When we secured our lead gifts, the second lead gift was specifically around the preschool buildings and grounds, the preschool director position, and endowing that to make sure that it's here forever. And when you think of a building and a grounds over there, specifically the preschool, and it's over 20 years old, there's things that need fixing. And we had a family step up that said, hey, we want to make sure Dodge is doing that. And that was definitely part of our comprehensive campaign. So that's awesome. There's a question, will former teachers be invited back for the May 15th event? Absolutely. We're excited about that. And the hard part is tracking people down. So if you know folks that are alumni, students, teachers, let them know, have them give us a call so we make sure we have their contact information, because yes, there's nothing better than seeing some past staff, and if they run into a possible student that was in their class, that would be a story that we would love to be a part of. So there's a question about Shepherd Farm. You saw it on the video, not necessarily part of Amy's presentation, but Shepherd Farm out in Cottage Grove, and if that location will be available to the public. And we've had it for a number of years now, and we've it's a very slow process. We want to make sure that we financially are stable. We did not want to affect Dodge Nature Center as a whole by taking another property on, so we had to take steps, and those steps are sometimes just baby steps. But we're prepared. This year, their trails will be open in Cottage Grove. That exact date is yet to be determined, but it will be this spring where we're going to open up. It won't be all the trails at Shepherd Farm, but at least so people can see it, be a part of it, and really see what's going to be happening out there. And we're thrilled to be a part of that. So if there's any other questions, we'd love to answer a few questions if you'd like. I was going to I thought of one, Amy, and again, I think you spoke on it a little bit, but you think of the school year, but then also the camps. Are camps run similar to the school year?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, they are. It's a lot of times it's, you know, the same staff. Some of our staff do take the summer off, and it's a really good opportunity to bring in some past teachers. Some of our teachers that maybe now work for a school district come back and join us for the summer. So that's kind of a fun opportunity to build that relationship more. And then it's a shorter program. So it's a little bit different in that there isn't the kind of conferencing assessment process that's happening there, but we're still having those discussions with families, and we're there to answer their questions. And summer's a little different because there's just so many amazing opportunities in summer around Dodge, from gardening to looking at insects and bugs and things like that. So, you know, there's some different natural opportunities going on too in summer.
Fantastic. Well, Amy, thank you for this presentation, the knowledge that you bring to Dodge Nature Center Preschool, and representing the team, the wonderful team that you have at the preschool. How does the 5 and 6 program differ from regular preschool programming?
Oh, that's another good thing. Yes, we do. We have a 5-6 program in our summer, and that's really geared towards preschoolers that are going into kindergarten next year. And so it's a group of older kids, usually 5 and 6-year-olds, and then they can hike a little farther. They're a little bit more ready to take on some kind of deeper investigations into some of the things that they're finding out on the trail. So we kind of have a whole classroom. And this summer, there was such a big interest. We're going to have, I think, 2 afternoon groups of 5-6s and 1 Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning group of 5-6s. It is a really great kind of getting ready for kindergarten and going on bigger hikes and being with some more of your same age peers. Because our other classrooms are mixed age, which means children are, you know, 3, 4, or maybe just turned 5. And, you know, they could still be going into kindergarten, but it's more geared towards, you know, children ready for that mixed age experience. So this gives sometimes it's returning families, and sometimes it's families that, you know, don't come during the school year, and summer is a time where they can, you know, attend a part-day program that maybe is a little further away too. So it is a great program for those kids too.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine reach out to me and ask me about the 5 or 6-year-old right before registration opened, and they're going to send their daughter to kindergarten this year. And she's going to be old for kindergarten, but she said, I don't know what it's going to be like. What's the separation going to be like? And I said, well, I have the program for you to at least, you know, dip your toe in a little bit. 3 days a week in the mornings, allow that opportunity to, you know, see what that separation number 1 is going to be like, how that day goes, how that flow goes. They looked us up on the website, and I know they were sitting at their computer at 7:45 Monday morning, just hitting refresh and waiting for the link to open. So
it's a very popular program. And like Jason said, it is also that great opportunity of getting to try out what school is like for kids maybe that haven't done school yet, and they're getting ready for their first full year of kindergarten, and want to see, you know, what is it like to be with a group of, you know, 17 other kindergartners, and, you know, build those social skills that they get to do when they're here. So
absolutely. Attendees, thank you. Thank you for taking time on this Tuesday afternoon, you know, getting probably kids ready for dinner, those types of things, getting yourself ready for dinner. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to what's happening at Dodge in the preschool. As you can see, we're extremely proud of the place that we're employed at, but we're more proud to invite you here. Come see us. And as the world gets back to the new normal or the old normal, Dodge is here. Come explore our trails. Right now, it's a great time. Wear boots, but it's a great time at Dodge. Thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.